Good morning, HFC kids. We're so excited to have you watching this video instead of being in Sunday school. So now you're in your own home instead of coming into church, which is kind of exciting, kind of weird, but we're excited to try it out together. On a normal Sunday morning, if you don't usually come to kids' church, we'll start out with playing a game, and then we'll usually sing a song, dance around a bit. Maybe you've already listened to some music this morning. If not, then you can get up and shake your sillies out, get some energy out before you sit down and listen to our story. Then we do prayer requests, and if you have prayer requests that you want me to pray for, I will continue to pray for what you have already told me. But if you want your parents to let me know some things to pray about, I'm still praying for your pets, your grandparents, your siblings, your gymnastics, your sports games, all of that, and whatever these next couple weeks change for that. And I'll keep praying for that. If there's anything else that you want, then let me know for that prayer time that we would normally do together. And then we'll talk about the story. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about the king whose servant owed him a lot of money and he forgave him of that debt. Then the servant didn't forgive the other people that owed him money, and it made the king really upset that he had forgiven him and the servant wasn't forgiving to other people. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. Last week, we talked about how one little step of forgiveness could change a lot. We learned the story of Zacchaeus and how everyone hated Zacchaeus and everyone was angry because he basically stole from them. And then Jesus came and forgave him of those issues, and it changed Zacchaeus' life. He was so thankful for Jesus' forgiveness that he changed the way he lived his life and went out and asked the people he stole from for forgiveness. So that little act of forgiveness that Jesus offered changed Zacchaeus' life and was able to impact other people with his forgiveness that he shared. This week, we're going to be talking about two brothers, one that needed forgiveness and one that had a hard time offering forgiveness, along with their father, who is always willing to forgive. So, before we get into that, I'm going to review our sign language for this month that we were learning, that forgiveness looks like this. And if you remember, it kind of looks like washing your hands, which I'm sure you've done a lot of washing your hands this week. When you're thinking of washing your hands, think about that when you wash all your germs away, when Jesus forgives us, it's like he's washing all of our sins away. So sign language for forgiveness looks like this. Anytime you're forgiving someone, it's like you're washing that away from your memory and forgiving them from what they've done wrong. So like I said, today's story is about two brothers and their father. This is a story that Jesus told his followers about forgiveness. And since Jesus thought it was important to teach this lesson on forgiveness, we're going to say that it's important too. This is a story about two brothers and their father. And the younger brother gets greedy. He wants money, he wants fun, he wants to run away and do his own thing. He doesn't want to stay home and do chores or take care of his father or anything. He doesn't want any kind of responsibility. So he goes to his father and says, "I'm supposed to get money when you die, right?" And the father says, "Yeah, you'll get some money and your brother will get the other money." And he'll say, "Well, I know you're not dead yet, but can I have it now?" And the father says, "That's disappointing, but sure, I'll give it to you now." And so the brother takes the money and leaves his father and brother behind. And he takes it and he goes traveling. He goes all over the place. He's having all kinds of fun. Here it has a picture of him riding an elephant. He's just having the best time, seeing all the cool things, and he's spending all of his money away. He's being irresponsible with how he's spending it. He's got so much money, he's made so many friends, he's eating the best food, and it's amazing, it's wonderful. And then one day, he runs out of money. And his friends are so confused. They say, "What are you supposed to do now? You don't have any money." So he has to go out and find a job. And the only job that's available to him, because he doesn't have any money and he doesn't know anyone in his new place, and he was planning on just working for his dad, but now he's not near his dad, so the only place he can work is with the pigs. Now, in Jesus' day, pigs were not a good thing. They didn't like pigs. They thought pigs were gross. They didn't get near them. They didn't think they were cute. They didn't think they were funny. None of it. Pigs were the worst job ever. So he got a job with the pigs, feeding pigs, taking care of the pigs. It was disgusting. It was awful, but he didn't have any money and he didn't have anywhere to go. And he needed something to do in order to make money, in order to get food. But eventually, since he was so poor, he ended up eating the pig's food, which is really gross. And the people that were listening to Jesus' story would have been like, no, Jesus, he can't eat the pig's food. But that's what he had to do. He didn't have any money. He didn't have any friends. He didn't have anywhere to go. He was just all alone and had ruined his relationship with his father and his brother, and everything was wrong, and he just had to eat pig's food. And it was kind of like the worst thing that could happen to him. To not only be working in the worst place ever, but eating the worst food ever, and being away from home and having no money or nothing. It was awful. But he had kind of done it to himself. He was being selfish and greedy and irresponsible, so you could almost say he deserved it. But he finally decided he wanted to go home to his father. He said, maybe my father will let me work as his servant. He doesn't have to treat me like a son again. He doesn't have to love me the same way because I know I've disappointed him. But if I go home, maybe he'll treat me as like one of his servants. And then maybe I'll have good food and at least be home. So he thought about his father, and that was his new plan. Now that he had no money, he had to walk home. He had to find a way to get home and travel back. And he probably worried the whole way, saying, is my dad gonna still love me? Is he gonna let me have a job, or is he too disappointed at me? What's my brother gonna say? What's my father gonna say to me? What am I gonna do? What if he doesn't take me as a job? I don't know. But he had to just walk, and he had to just try. And I don't know, how would you feel if you had lost everything and you knew you had disappointed your parents and your family and you didn't have any friends? How would that make you feel? That would make me feel kind of scared and sad. But as he's walking home, he looked out into the distance and he saw a man out in the distance, and he goes, what's that? What's that out there? And then the man on the other side was standing and watching, saying, who's coming? Who's coming? Who's coming down the road? And he realizes it's his son. His son is home, and he runs and he hugs him and he says, thank the Lord, you're home. I'm so excited you're home. You came back to me. And the son says, wait, didn't I disappoint you? Aren't you mad? And he said, no, I thought you had died. I thought you were dead. I'm so excited that you're even home. He said, Father, can you forgive me? Can you give me a job? Can you let me back home? And the father says, of course I'll let you back home. I'm so happy that you're back. I'm so happy you came back. I thought you were dead, but now you're here and you're alive. And he was just so excited. And he says, you know what? We're going to have a party. Not only am I going to welcome you home, we're going to get you some new clothes. We're going to get a ring to put on your finger. We're going to give you some new shoes. And we're going to throw this big party with the best food. We're going to take care of you and treat you really well because we're so excited to have you back. We'll have a big welcome home party. And I'm sure the son was like, cool, that's awesome. I got to come home and everything's good again. But remember our third character? We have the other son. He's been out working. He's been responsible. He's stayed home. He's done everything he's supposed to do. And he comes back that night from work and he looks and he sees this big party happening. And everybody's celebrating it. Everybody's eating this wonderful food. And his father's so happy. And he says, hey, what's going on? Why is everyone so excited? And he goes up to one of his servants and says, tell me what's happening. And they say, your brother came home. Your brother, your little brother that spent all the money. He came home and we're so excited to have him back and we're so happy. We're having this big welcome home party for him. And the brother was like, are you kidding me? He was bad. He was irresponsible. He was mean to my father. He did all of this wrong. Why are we celebrating him? So he goes up to his dad and he says, come on, Dad, why are you acting like this? Why are you celebrating him? And the father says, he's still my son. Just like you're my son, he's still my son and I still love him. So of course I'm going to forgive him. Of course I'm going to be happy he came home. And that's kind of where Jesus ended the story. We don't know how the brother responded. We don't know if the brother ended up forgiving him. We don't know if the brother was grumpy the whole time and said, no, my brother was bad. Or maybe he forgave his little brother and said, you're still my brother and I still love you. We don't know. But the father made the choice to forgive. Jesus says, when he's telling this story, that in our lives, even if we run away and we're irresponsible and we're mean and we are rude and waste everything that's been given to us, if we come back to our Father God, he'll still love us and he'll be so excited that we came back and he'll forgive us from everything we've done. That's why Jesus told this story, so that these people that are listening and are upset and thinking there's nothing that they can do, he's telling them they can still come to God. And the same thing's true of you and your family. If you think that you've ruined everything and there's nothing left, even if it's something little, God will still take you back every time and will love you and be so excited that you came to him and will always forgive you. So that's kind of why we tell our story, that maybe it's a big step, or maybe it's a little step like Zacchaeus last week, or maybe it's a big step like the father forgiving his son for losing all of his money and running away from home. No matter what, forgiveness is a choice that you can make that can make a big difference in someone's life. So that's our story for this week. We'll see what next week brings, but for this week when you're at home, I'm going to be sending out some papers, and this is one of them. This is for all elementary students, and it has something that you can do every day or for 4 days that has to do with our lesson that you can do from home. So this one, it has you read a Bible passage and then you get to write in your name into some different parts of the story here and make it your own and how forgiveness can play out throughout your week. I'm also going to be sending out a coloring page and a maze to show how the son traveled to get back to his father. So those will just be some things, if you're off school this week, some things that you can do at home to have some fun with our story. I'll see you around.